Hey everybody, this is Pamela coming at you with a video, vlog, chat, speakeasy, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry I haven't been online the last couple of days, but I've had a lot of stuff going on. One of which you've probably already seen on this channel, but we'll talk about that another day. I just got word on Wednesday that Ellen DeGeneres is canceling her show in 2022. And I don't think it's for the reasons that she's claiming, but I think it's for the reasons that have been found out within the last year or so. You know, the toxic work environment and how she's been treating her coworkers and staff like shit. There is somebody on my other channel that doesn't like that kind of talk about how I feel with Ellen DeGeneres, or as I like to call her, Ellen Degenerate, because that's what she is, a lying hypocrite. You know, she's always stressing to be kind when she herself is not kind. I've heard about this toxic work environment. You're not allowed to look at Ellen. You're not allowed to speak with Ellen. You're not allowed to do nothing that excludes her. If anybody's funnier than her, look out, because she'll give you the riot act for that. And I think the real reason why that her show is being canceled is because of the toxic work environment that has been exposed. And I went around and looked at some articles online about how she had that same type of work environment on her comedy show. Now, I never thought of her as funny. She just seemed very stiff, very wooden. And her comedy show may have started out funny, but she used it as a political bench to scream out, "Hey, everybody, I'm gay." And it was very, very abrupt, very loud, very noisy. I understand she was the first character to come out as gay, but then Dr. Carrie Weaver on ER came out to Dr. Romano and told him that she was not only a chief of medicine of the ER, but she was also a gay person. That if she fired another coworker that had been found out to be gay, Carrie Weaver was going to take it to the ACLU and anybody else who would listen. You know, there's a scene on here where Carrie comes out to Romano. And she tells him, she gives him the ultimatum. If he fired the coworker, then the chief of surgery was going to leave too. And he says, "Well, are you giving me an ultimatum? Because I don't react well to ultimatums. You pick your battles very carefully." And that's where the character, Carrie Weaver, lowered the boom on Dr. Romano and said, "Yeah, I am. I'm chief of surgery, and I'm also a lesbian. If you continue with this, I'll take it to the ACLU and anybody else who will listen. So you pick your battles carefully." So she walked out, got on the elevator, and realized that that was the first time she really came out to anybody. But you know, you treat people like shit, people aren't going to like you very much. That is the example I'm trying to show to you. Ellen has this mask of niceness when she's on TV, but when the cameras are off, she is a demeaning, prissy little bitch, entitled, spoiled, and her former co-workers exposed her for who she is. And I, for one, don't feel sorry for her, because I've learned that if you treat people like shit, don't expect people to like you very much. That is how I feel on it. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like if I went to work and was belittled and mistreated and made to feel inferior. You know, I don't have to work in that type of environment. Nobody deserves that. You know, I didn't even have to go to school in a toxic environment. I shouldn't have had to. But I had a teacher tell me once, "Oh, you'll never understand what you read if you don't learn how to read." You'll never amount to anything if you don't understand what you read. A teacher told me that at 7 or 8 years old. And the words you tell people can affect their lives. I know what I'm talking about. And I went around looking at articles about Ellen and her history of the toxic environment. And it might not have just been on her talk show. You can go around on the internet and look up her comedy show, The Ellen Show, that was on, I think, Fox, I think at one point in time years ago. A lot of people, I heard that she had been tyrannical to them on that particular show, because on one of these articles, I think it was like The Independent, saying, don't these people know what her work history is, what her environment is? Why are they allowing it to continue? And I think a lot of people that worked for her are relieved that the show will be coming to an end in 2022. And if you are having a toxic environment and people are talking like that, then you have a problem. You should have addressed it from the very beginning if you really gave a damn. But like one of the workers that formerly worked for her said, she doesn't give a damn about anybody. It's all about Ellen. It's kind of like the Trump effect, but this is what Ellen we're talking about here. She doesn't accept responsibility for the toxic work environment that has happened. And I think that Warner Brothers had some knowledge about it, but they did nothing about it, and it hurt a lot of people. And it's nobody should have to live in that type of environment. Let's see what else they're saying about Ellen's show today. Yep. And they said after her apology about the workplace environment from the New York Times back in March, Ellen DeGeneres lost 1 million viewers after her apologies for toxic workplace. And her claim that she's ending the show because it's not a challenge anymore. Really? Dancing around like an idiot and treating your guests like crap? Mm-mm. And I think she pissed off people like Cher. Let's see what else they're saying about Ellen over the years. Come on. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of videos where watch Ellen piss off this guest. When Ellen gets pissed at guests. Wow. Let's see what they're saying here. All the times that Ellen was rude to her guests. Ellen DeGeneres has had a tough go of it recently, as accusations after accusations of not so secretly mean have been piling up since October of 2019. In fact, the show has recently seen a dramatic drop in viewership that, if the numbers don't improve, the ratings would be grounds for NBC to cancel the Ellen DeGeneres show. This article comes off of Film Daily. And it's here. Though we'll never have footage to prove what she's like off camera, we could take a look at clips from the Ellen DeGeneres show, which have occasionally shown Ellen in a less than stellar light. She has pissed off Dakota Johnson in 2019. And I think I remember that because she was invited to a wedding or a party, and Ellen claimed that she wasn't invited, and the young woman said, yes, you were. Why weren't you there? But let's read it anyway. Dakota Johnson in 2019. We'll start with that. And it says, In November of 2019, Dakota Johnson was a guest on Ellen DeGeneres show, and Ellen starts off the interview clip by saying, "Happy belated birthday. When was your birthday?" Johnson informs her interviewer it was a month ago, in which Ellen asks why she wasn't invited to that party. Dakota's response is that Ellen was invited. DeGeneres looks shocked and repeatedly presses Johnson on whether she's sure. Johnson continues to pull receipts saying DeGeneres had previously given her crap about not getting a birthday party invite. So yeah, she's sure. They continued their spat on live TV, and Johnson tells DeGeneres she didn't know the host liked her. The entire interview, while being played for laughs for the audience, is fraught with awkward and passive-aggressive energy. However, it looks like Johnson fully expected DeGeneres to come for her and was more than ready for a weird interview. Even in the comments on the video are all very weirded out by the clip. And it goes on to say here, Henson Menjage in 2019. Menjage is a very popular comedian, and his first appearance may be his last on the Ellen DeGeneres show in April of last year. Ellen starts by saying how much she's a fan of him and immediately mispronounces his name. The young man says no, to which DeGeneres has the audacity to fight him on it and replies yes. He tells her how to say it, and then she puts it wrong again. He takes a serious moment to explain to people his name is important to him and that his parents, who were in the audience, and yet Ellen DeGeneres doesn't seem to take him entirely seriously. Not taking the 5 minutes to Google the pronunciation of a guest's name is embarrassing since it's her job, especially when she can have an intern do it and relay the information to her. I remember hearing about that. And she even humiliates an audience member in 2017. In 2017, DeGeneres started a segment by saying she wanted to see how honest her audience was. She set up a table with swag where members of the live audience could take one Ellen-branded item home as a free gift. However, when someone innovatively took more than one item, the hidden camera caught her, and Ellen DeGeneres shamed her for doing that very thing she set out to catch someone doing. It was completely a setup. The guest is clearly uncomfortable for being called out on national television, but does her best to play it off as funny by slapping her own hand a couple of times. DeGeneres even makes her go up on stage and sit in the corner for a timeout-esque situation. And Taylor Swift got the wrath of Ellen in 2013. A lot of these examples are more recent, but the long-running show has a few questionable moments for a long time. One of the most heartbreaking occurred in an interview with Taylor Swift, where she looks merely ready to burst into tears. DeGeneres wants to play a game where the Swift, who has been known to have a number of high-profile romances over the years, to ring a bell whenever a picture of a guy she has dated shows up on the screen. Swift refuses to play for many minutes as she doesn't want to upset anybody. Eventually, Ellen just starts ringing the bell herself, and Swift desperately cries for DeGeneres to stop. It makes her feel bad about herself every time she comes on the show. This is the most obvious case of bullying we have seen on the show. There are countless other video clips of DeGeneres not listening to guests, blowing them off, or otherwise being rude to them. Not to mention some of her guests genuinely didn't enjoy her frequent attempts to scare them. However, these are some of the most obnoxious and uncomfortable clips to watch. So yeah, she has a habit of intimidating and bullying people. And especially if she was in, Taylor was involved with Corey Monteith and she doesn't want to do it. You can take a look at this article for yourself. I'm not going to lie. I'm not just talking out of my ass here. Let's see. Let's see what else they're talking about in terms of her attitude. Let's see. From 2020, April 8th of last year. Ellen DeGeneres pissed off the internet by comparing isolation to her luxury mansion to jail. Yeah, and I'll share the article with you before I begin to read, and I'm only going to read most of it. So here we go. Here's the article. I think the internet went in full range mode on that. But it says, while the coronavirus pandemic has kept the world inside their homes, inmates at prisons have been worried that they're going to catch the virus in their cramped and likely already infected cell, which is just like being at Ellen's house. I mean, Ellen and her wife, Porter de Rossi, trade honey buns for Cunningans. Ellen agrees she has made a joke about it. I'd say, read the room, Ellen. She probably did, and the assistant forced to be there was like hilarious, Mr. Generous, as always. Amazing. Comedy genius of our time. Please don't yell at me. I have no more tears to cry. Ellen apparently asked Bestie George W. Bush about prison conditions because she's not up to date. Ellen and Ponta have been quarantined in their palatial mansion for weeks now. She hasn't been filming her show for obvious reasons, came back with episodes from home. On Monday's episode, at that time, Ellen talked about her time in Chateau DeGeneres. It started out lighthearted, then she spat out her usual PG comedy, and then she tried it as a joke via Decider. Thanks for not being here. This is crazy. I wasn't supposed to be doing a show from my house until next season. Today I'm filming this in my living room because this has the best light and sound, and all the other rooms in my house are filled with toilet paper. It's nice actually because we get to spend some time together and talk to really get to know each other. Did you know she was Australian? This is like being in jail, mostly because I've been wearing the same clothes for 10 days. Everyone here is gay. Unquote. Is that an Oz reference, Ellen? Because it didn't work, and Twitter, who is staying on outrage mode, let her know now is not the time. One person says, what a great look for Ellen as thousands of people sit in actual jail cells hoping for the best without soap and basic protections. Another one says, people are literally dying in jail from COVID-19 while Ellen is out here making jokes about it. See if there's anything else posted here. Another one says, doesn't she buy Redicate, sell like multiple mansions a year? People are dying. I'm afraid to leave my house every day, but I have to. But okay, go off, Ellen. Social isolation is bad, stressful, and causes increased depression and anxiety. But it ain't jail. And it says here, poor Ellen got quarantined in jail worth $24 million. And they have a link to, I think, a pic. The article then goes on to say, well, I mean, she's really good at putting her feet in her mouth these days. As punishment, I think she should put her money where her mouth is. She let us know that her home is now considered appropriate confinement for criminals. So she should invite Michelle I can't read that name, to stay with her, and she has to help him record his album. Some musician. You know, and it's really sad. You know, and the comments are like, you know, the comments on this article are like, letting her have it. Let's see. One person says, I saw about 10 minutes of her prank show, and she looked like Jeffrey, smiling like an electric eel as people floundered on stage. Chilled me to the core. Something is very dark inside there. I'm Team Nope on Ellen these days. Let's see. Another one says, the pandemic has definitely shown her ass. If the Rona doesn't kill her, if the Rona isn't killing her, if the Rona doesn't kill her, it's slowly killing her career. Another one says it won't. Celebrity worship is a sustainable and timeless cult. People project themselves on who they're closer to. Being homeless, then have 1/4 of her income. And another person says every day she looks more and more like a goblin. Another one says, I'll never understand how Ellen made it. She's about as funny as a tea bag. Another one says, one of the worst things about DeGeneres is her. I'm just a regular, everyday person. Shtick. She is not a regular person. She's a wealthy, married, lesbian talk show host and international stand-up comedian who dresses in male drag. There's nothing regular or everyday about DeGeneres. It's one of the biggest lies she tells her audiences, and it just doesn't fly. The only thing I can think of is why she still does this to combat the angry man hating lesbian stereotype that is the mainstay of right-wing bigots like Rush Limbaugh, who singled out DeGeneres as a target of his viral. In reaction to his negative lesbian stereotypes, DeGeneres always presents as non-threatening, indiffusive, not here to rock the boat type of TV personality host while getting away with a pension of femininity that's both lesbian loaded and masculine loaded. And again, somebody repeated the teabag comment about her career. Someone posted a big post, but I'll see if I can read it. I'll read this big one from Facebook. Let's see. People are really coming after her these few weeks, but I have a feeling there's more to it. I also think it's hilarious that comedian guy started the thing on Twitter where people share her mean stories and all hell broke loose. You could look that up online. People should not take what celebs say seriously. Right. You know, if you're going to be an asshole, then you're in the wrong career. Because they pay your bills. We pay your bills. Let's see. Another person says, I have broken down and watched the video clip. Below are my thoughts. The most offensive thing about DeGeneres is that she is a terribly unfunny person. She sucks without a laugh track or live audience that laughs in one. Plus, she's not witty, clever, or funny, way too dry and matter-of-factly delivered to land a joke. The TP didn't land because she's way too boring. Sitting in your mansion is not a good setup for telling a joke about a rich woman hoarding toilet paper. And DeGeneres is a wealthy woman, has no connection or experience with having toilet paper from buying toilet paper from a supermarket. She now lives in a mansion. All those rooms in her house, she's stocked with TP at all times. The jokes teller, the setup, the context, and the punchline. The TP isn't logical, nor based in current reality. The delisted commenters have shared better jokes and better memes on the run on toilet paper than we all share the same reality. More lame jokes. She makes lame jokes, observations about her liking to doing the vacuuming or doing the dusting at home. There's just one problem. Bitch, you live in a fucking mansion. You're a multi-millionaire. It's just not believable, sincere that she shops to buy toilet paper, cleans any of the rooms in her mansion, or does any housework. The whole point of being rich is not having housework or paying someone to do that work for you. Or that should have been the joke, or at least the punchline of a joke. Her attempts of a depreciating manner just don't work. She's just not sincere, and she can't speak or comment with a universal experience. The jokes about her dogs don't work, and about her relationship with Miss Rossi didn't land either. I really didn't care for Ellen's jokes about her relationship with her because while the jokes aren't cruel, the jokes sounded like nice put downs and old fashioned take my wife please type of jokes are a bit sincere and a bit dishonest. And you can read more about the big one here. Let's see. I can't be bothered to get outraged by celebs who are showing their asses, and that's par for the course. Tone deaf, arrogant, the list goes on. I'm running out of fresh. It's drawing out how to touch their ass. I'll save my anger for frontline workers for not getting the PPE they need. People are dying without loved ones by their side, and leaders who need a Kleenex to wipe away the bullshit coming from their mouths. Let's see, I'll read a couple more here. The outrage over this is freaking bizarre to me. Can someone do another Ella Seeks Twitter thread? I had some. She hadn't watched with the last. Let's see. Another guy says, I hope some manager of hers steals her money and she loses her fortune overnight. This entitled angry cow needs to come down several notches. She seems to be miserable and abusive. And the person tells the wife of Ellen DeGeneres to run. You know, I'll tell you what it's like living in prison. You know, that woman could get in her car. She can go wherever she wants. She could do whatever she wants. Me, I have to take a bus service where I can't get on the bus unless I have a mask. And I have to wait. You know, I go for an appointment or something. I have to go for an appointment. And I have to do the appointment. I probably have to sit there 1 or 2 hours after before the bus can come back to get me. That is like living in a prison. Because with all her multi-millionaire money, she could have people drive her where she wants to go. She can go anywhere, anytime she wants. She just has to wear a mask, and she don't have to wait on anybody. What I'm trying to say is, Ellen has this nasty track record of knocking people when they shouldn't be knocked. You know? Just like that swag joke she tried to pull on one of her guests or on one of her visitors to her show. If the person wants to take more swag, let her have it. You don't humiliate them on nationwide television. That is like bullying to the first order. But again, Ellen DeGeneres, her show is ending in 2022, and for me, it couldn't come soon enough. I never thought she was very funny. And the comedy show that she did have back in the day started out as comedy, but she turned it into a look at me, I'm gay kind of thing. And after about 5 or 6 years, people tuned out. She moved on to the talk show. And I have read articles where people that have worked with her on that show have had the same type of problems that were apparent on the Ellen show. And the person they interviewed said, don't they realize what kind of track record she has? Don't they know what's going on? Why is this continuing on? You could go on the internet and look all this stuff up. And I'm saying, if you have a problem, you're the person with the name on the show. You have to deal with it. You have to own up and you have to deal with it. And if you can't, then you're as slimy as they come. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, has to work in a toxic environment. Because the woman's just lucky that her coworkers aren't angry enough that they could do something stupid like brandish a gun or kill coworkers. And people are saying it's about time for the Ellen show to go. I mean, she has her one reasons on the show for wanting to bag the show, but I think the main reason why she is pulling the plug on her little enterprise of 19 years in 2022, I think the real reason why the plug is being pulled is because of what's happened behind the scenes. And a lot of people are calling out her apologies for the so-called apology that she made as bullshit. And she lost 1 million viewers because of that. They're like, Ellen, we don't believe you anymore. We don't. And nobody should have to work in a toxic environment because it weighs you down. If the person that you work for makes you feel less than inferior, you don't have to put up with that. You could go to their boss. If people like the people at Warner Brothers knew about the work environment, then they should be held accountable as well. Her name is on the show, and if she ain't willing to handle it, then the WB should have. But in all honesty, I think it's time for the Ellen show to go. They could put on a good show in the afternoon. I'm hoping it's not Kelly Clarkson because there's rumors going around that Kelly Clarkson may take over that time slot. I don't know, so don't quote me on that. I don't think of her as very funny or very congenial either. Because I have met her once, and she was just as irritating back in 2001 when I met her. So, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, Ellen, if you really gave a damn about your coworkers, and I know you don't, you would have done something about the toxic work culture. And let's just say, honey, you're lucky that nobody is so crazy that they would bring a gun in and they could hurt you. But in 2022, Ellen's show would be pulled from the airwaves, and I couldn't be more than happy. Maybe they need to put more Judge Judy on in the afternoon. Her show is going off the air at the end of the year, so yeah. After 25 years, yeah. I think Miss Judge Judy is going to move on to other projects. She's done the show long enough, and there's plenty of episodes that I'm sure people will find somewhere online and watch them. But for Ellen, she really needs a good attitude adjustment. Maybe find something in that little stone heart of hers, such as compassion, caring. But then, somebody said the show started out lighthearted and fun, and she became an elitist asshole all in one. And she thought she could get over on people by playing the nice game, when in actuality, if you watch some of the clips, she has infuriated guests, humiliated audience members. And that's a shame. That's a shame. That's not being kind to people, Miss DeGeneres. But I think you're a hypocrite and you're a degenerate. Because if you treat your fans like shit, you treat your coworkers like shit, I can't imagine how you treat your wife. And like somebody said, if the wife is being mistreated by Ellen, I think the wife should run away from her. I've heard a lot about rifts in their relationship, so yeah. And her stupid crap has been called out, and I think that's why she's calling her show at the end of 2022. And it's about time. Maybe they could bring back Judge Alex in the afternoon. So, yeah. But if Warner Brothers knew about the toxic environment, Warner Brothers should have been dealt with. Hello. I'm sure you heard on Wednesday that Ellen DeGeneres is going off the air. Yep. I think she's horrible. There's nobody else here. Just somebody watching and then you. But yeah, there's some articles there should you want to read them. So, yeah. I think Ellen, her true colors came out last year and people aren't putting up with it anymore. So, yeah, we'll see how this plays out in the year 2022. So, I got to get off. I got to get something to eat. And hopefully we won't lose power here. I think the heat has been extremely terrible. We've had power fluctuations and just been really terrible here. So, yeah. I'll probably get on here in a couple days because I got a couple of doctor's appointments this week. I got my breast exam tomorrow and my COVID shot on Friday. So it depends on how the weather takes on me. Because yesterday I had to go to the bank. I had to deal with some idiot stealing my identity on one of these websites where you order food for delivery. I had over $200 charged on food alone. A Wingstop from California, a sashimi place, and one other place. So I had to spend a few days going to the bank and getting everything set up. I had to get my card, and then they updated their website, and I had to get my password and everything updated. And with the blocks on robocalls, I don't get robocalls right now because they're running rampant in terms of trying to get your shit. So, yeah, I'm going through a lot. But I'll make it through like I always have. And you know what, Miss Ellen DeGeneres? I'm going to apologize before I say this to any of the gay community out there. But if Ellen DeGeneres is going to act like a Nazi dyke, maybe she should go to Russia. She would probably fit in there because she is one of those people that only cares about herself. She doesn't take full responsibility for what happened. And I remember hearing about the guy that had his last name mispronounced, and it's like she didn't care. You can go on YouTube and look at all those videos yourself. In fact, I think I'll save some in a playlist here this evening because I got to go to bed early. My big appointment is at 7:45 tomorrow morning. So, yeah, I got to get to bed early and get me some needed sleep. So, stay safe, stay cool, and if you can, get your shot. The benefit outweighs the risks. Take care of yourselves, and I actually mean it. Try and be kind, even to people that don't deserve it. And I hope Ellen learns that lesson. You treat people like shit, they're going to treat you like shit. You need to get a pair of niceness in you, or you're not going to have very many friends. And as some people have said, she can complain about being shut into that fancy mansion of hers all she wants. But there are people that are homeless, that don't have a bed to sleep in. They live on the streets. A lot of people lost their job. 1 million people have died due to COVID. And she's sitting on her ass in a fancy $1 million mansion. Well, that Nazi can kiss my ass. She's not worth the time of day, and I think finally people have seen her for who she is. She burnt that bridge, and now she has to learn to live with it. So, have a good afternoon, everybody, and I'll talk to you again really soon. Take care of each other, and I'll talk to you this weekend. Bye.